make that happen. I make good money, but my husband...
The average conservative woman marries a guy worth I think it's $4 million. What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily. Today we are doing our debate, maybe not debate, panel show on Wednesday, where we invite different YouTubers, content creators to weigh in on a topic, and we even extend it out to the people in the chat so you guys can call in. So a couple announcements. We're going to test out a later showtime. When I was looking at entertainment and just the different YouTubers, entertainers, it seems like everybody likes the 9 p.m. slot. I've tested a lot of different times on the channel, but if you guys like this time, I kind of want to see if we get a better, if we get better callers, because I think 7 to 9 is when we normally do the show, but I feel like people are doing stuff at that time. So at 9, people are home, unless you're in California, maybe. So I found the clip I was looking for last show, so I'm going to show that first. So as you guys know, I talk about traditional conservative women. So typically, tradcon women go into the industry to marry rich. That's usually their ploy. Now, typically, they're going to claim to be traditional or, signal it in some way, maybe. But you'll notice that they exhibit the same behaviors of modern women, because if you're really a traditional woman, you marry your high school or your college sweetheart. You don't keep trying to do better and better and better, right? And typically women, we tend to want more control and leverage, and we keep working even when we have kids and stuff. We're kind of like F them kids. Do you know what I mean? And usually we mouth off on the internet and the rich husbands have to pay for it. So we saw this with Candace Owens, right? Candace Owens married George Farmer, guy worth $300 million. And, or 150. He's worth a lot of money, right? And now she gets to mouth off on the internet and he gets to pay for it. It's awesome. Usually when men mouth off on the internet, they accept the consequences. Like Nick, for example, at a gunman, show up at his house. He's also been dragged to court. Alex Jones lost everything. And you just don't see that as much with women, because usually the women will have the men pay for it. And I thought I'd have to how do you say? I found a clip of Brett Cooper admitting exactly this. And I was like, Brett, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So here we go.
Making significantly more. He's like, if you ever want to stop.
Okay, wait, let me.
And he's making significantly.
All right. So now we got the pictures, right? Now, usually the women, what they do is they claim they're not using, they claim they care about family more than anything, right? But then they cover politics. Do you know what I mean? That's like a great way to put your family at risk, right? Then they say, oh, well, just marry a nice guy, and then they always marry rich, right? They say don't marry for money, and then they always marry for money. And then they say I care about my family, while simultaneously using their family to build their brand. Like when men have social media, they usually just post the cool stuff they're doing, like their fish or whatever. When women, they got to use their husband and their kids to signal, I am a good person, I am high status. So that's usually what you see.
More. He's like, if you ever want to stop working completely, I want to be able to let you do that, and we don't have to change our lifestyle. We don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so you're going to see now she has the opportunity to stop working. And we're going to see when the rubber hits the road if she's able to walk away when she has a kid. I don't even think she really should, to be honest. I wouldn't even say that she should. But you have to understand, it's just not traditional. It's not what they're selling, right? It's I want all the benefits. I want the clout from being traditional while doing all of the non-traditional things. I care about my kids, but not enough to walk away from my job, which sacrifices their privacy. Yeah, that's always how it goes.
Anything, and I want to protect you, especially as I've kind of made this whole career.
I care about my kids and my husband, but I'll use them for money on the internet. You know what I mean? It's just,
shift of leaving a situation where I had a W-2 job and I was salaried.
And that's the same thing, right? They go and they make money off of men. So a man will have a company, they'll make money. Then they'll crash out and burn the bridge. We see Brett Cooper did that. She crashed out on her boss, the girl taking her job. Just typical. Then you see Candace Owens do it too. It's just annoying, you know.
Employee to where I've now jumped to my income is based on basically.
Then, you know, it's like they're the hero and the victim in their own story. So, you know, they always make it sound like they overcame some feat, but their husband's really the one paying for it.
What I put out, I would have been able to do that if it wasn't for his, you know, support and being able to.
There you go. They marry rich and have their husbands pay for it.
Make that happen. I make good money, but my husband.
The average conservative woman marries a guy worth like, I think it's $4 million. Now, good for you. You played the game and won. But what I get annoyed is I just don't like being gaslit and told that the game isn't the game. That's where I get annoyed. All right. So whenever Doug MPA and I go back and forth before a show, as most of you know, I have been fighting on the front lines of the simp epidemic for years, but I need to tell you about a quiet weapon being ratcheted up against men that is rarely talked about. It's not just the relentless anti-masculinity propaganda and OnlyFans hoes causing the societal issues that we discuss on this show. Did you know that the average city's tap water contains trace pharmaceuticals and endocrine disruptors? This often includes estrogen from birth control. The average adult consumes a credit card worth of plastic every single week. That's 5 grams of plastic a week on average. So it's no wonder that the average male's testosterone is half of what the average was 50 years ago. Testosterone levels decline 1% a year, and without a course correction, we are headed towards extinction. No matter how based you are, you need to be naturally boosting your testosterone. My friends at Chalk, CHOQ.com, are on a mission to save mankind from extinction by boosting your vitality. Chalk's Male Vitality Stack contains premium and potent herbs clinically studied to naturally boost your testosterone levels, sperm count, and overall vitality. Just one of the many ingredients in the Male Vitality Stack was studied in double-blind human clinical trials to boost total testosterone 20% in 90 days. When you boost your testosterone, you'll have more mental clarity, you're more capable of making decisions and taking risks. Having high testosterone will also affect your pheromones, so women will find you more attractive subconsciously. Get the Chalk Male Vitality Stack right now on Chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Use my name Pearl as your coupon code and you'll get 25% off site-wide on Chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. My name Pearl is the discount code. Oh my gosh. Hold on, Murray came on the other day and I need to read this tweet because this is a savage. Okay. The Murray system: make 6 figures, use beautiful mids as warm-ups, raw dog always, rotate the roster bi-weekly, aftercare, call her Uber while texting the next one, and your roster over her feelings. All right. Do you know what I mean? It's like, all right. So anyways, back to the topic. So whenever me and Doug MPA are on the phone, we like kind of go over what show topics we want to do. And I always know that if me and him are going back and forth, it would make a good topic. So we are going to talk about who are the buyers in the current dating market. So I was having a conversation the other day about the dating market and who really holds the power. A lot of channels. All right, I was having a conversation the other day, and you know, at one point I would have said that men are the buyers in the dating market. And I thought about using the car analogy to like illustrate this. You know, because I'll hear Myron talk on Fresh and Fit, and he'll say like 30-year-old women can't compete with 20-year-old women. And I thought about it, and I just thought that's just simply not true. It's simply not true. I have seen 30-year-old women outcompete 20-year-old women. And that's because the 20-year-old women treat the man like shit and the 30-year-old woman was nice to him. I mean, all things being equal, she'll never win. But I've even seen manosphere guys date, marry women over 30, women with children. I've seen it, right? And it's not an attack, not an attack at all. But I liked the analogy. I enjoyed the car analogy because I was thinking about it, and there are luxury cars, right? And there's a big luxury car market, but men, there's still a huge used car market. And if anything, the used car market at times has had more buyers, right? Like, what's going to have more buyers? The used, like the brand new price, or the car with X amount of miles that's 50% off? And I thought that was a decent analogy with women. But I was kind of bouncing. Sometimes when I write or I kind of think through these shows, I like to bounce with the real world. And I was bouncing off of a friend of mine, different friend. And he said, no, men are not the buyers, women are the buyers. And he said that analogy, it makes it seem like men are the choosers, but really women are choosing us. And I don't have it. So I decided to kind of maybe amend this analogy. And I thought, in a way, men have houses and they make the house like cool. Like maybe they'll have like an offering or like a job posting. But they're not really in control of who applies. And they could give the job to the best applicant, right? But it's kind of a shitty application process. Like the market out there, the people applying are kind of terrible. And I just thought, if men have that much control over who they marry, I think that the women would be younger and hotter. But when I look at the wives, they're old and fat. And I would say there's a small minority of men that maybe are the buyers. This guy actually convinced me of this. He's like, there's a small minority of men who are the buyers, but the majority of men are not the buyers. And I think a reason for this is we're talking about men with frame and regular men. Men with frame are always the buyers that can walk away, but the problem is most men aren't, and women are mistaken about the dualism, making most of them believe that they were in fact the buyers. I'm reading something I was sent. Only because most men turn themselves into the position of the seller by giving away their frame. If the men signing up had control over what they were buying, I would see them with hot young wives, but I see them with old fat ones. So I'm a little bit split. I got to be honest. I'm kind of split on this. But I'm going to start taking the position that women are the buyers. Because out of the arguments I heard, that one seemed the strongest to me. However, I can be swayed. I really can. Like if the 22-year-old women were dying to be married, right? Then I could argue that, the men are the buyers. But it's just not what I see, I see the 22-year-old women banging the guys and not calling them back. Do you know what I mean? There are specific men that have frame, but like if I look at the average guy, right? I don't see most men willing to walk away like ever. I mean, 6 months into a relationship, they're kind of cooked. Like I don't see most men that get married. I see the women successfully nagging them into it, if I'm being honest. Guys are the renters. That might be a better analogy. I'm open to other analogies. So I invited a lot of YouTubers to come on to this, or just people I know. So hopefully at some point they'll join. So let me make sure I sent this out. But for now, I'm gonna put Doug MPA on the screen. Doug MPA, how's it going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
All right. So what's your case? Are men the buyers or the sellers? Or someone said the renters in the chat. Maybe that's a better analogy.
So, as long as men propose and marry, men are the buyers. What happens afterwards is completely different. Because you keep making this thing where, oh yeah, 22-year-old girls, and if men, but here's the thing, more, all the data about how little women want to get married is women under 30. I'm in my 40s. I can tell you, a switch flips after 30, and most women will want to get married. Feminists.
I think they say that though because they're fat. Like if they really wanted to get married, they wouldn't be fat. Like,
Yeah, I understand that.
They don't want
I agree.
to. Go ahead.
I agree.
Go
Everything you're gonna say about that, I agree. But feminists' biggest conundrum is that the only thing that they can say, women can do anything a man can do, that they can do it better, but they can't get a man to marry them. Now, are men dumb enough to marry these women? Yes. But you have women who will not approach a man, will not propose to a man. I've got on dates, I dated with some of the most powerful women, surgeons, lawyers, police officers, and they will not propose to a man. If the goal is, see, because I equivocate buying a car in the analogy to marriage. Okay, because when you buy a car, you are making a long-term commitment. You financially, you are legally responsible for that vehicle. You have to do the insurance and the maintenance, and men don't have to do that until they get they're not legally held responsible for the maintenance of a woman until they get married. If you're talking about relationships and stuff like that, yes. But the car analogy goes towards serious relationship, commitment, and marriage, and men will be the buyers as long as men have to initiate marriage. At my age, you have plenty of men who've been married and divorced, and they meet women who are finally ready to settle down. But these men will not marry these women. I have friends who will not get married again, ever. So once again, until women en masse propose to men, men are the buyers because women cannot get married without a man proposing to them and signing that marriage certificate first.
But do they propose usually because they want to or because the woman wants them to?
It doesn't matter either way. They have to do it.
I think it matters.